Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take a whole stack of sources and pull out the key insights, the really important stuff, just for you. Today, we're digging into some really extraordinary material. It's this bold mix of physics, prophecy, economics, even spirituality. Our mission, really, is to unpack what the author is saying about, well, divine energy, big changes for the planet, and maybe even transforming society itself. So our main source today comes from Hio, hi-asu.com, OAMAZU, and we've also got some related texts here from Jan Gloomy. Now, just so you know, these aren't your standard academic reports. They offer what the authors call a really complex, multi-dimensional view of reality. And just to kind of set the stage, here's a pretty intriguing line from the source. Religion, science, and matter, only it was written in parables. The authors seem to think that getting this idea is like key to tackling some of the world's biggest problems. So yeah, let's see what they mean by that.
Absolutely. And what's really striking is how they jump right into redefining some pretty basic science. They put forward this formula, apparently discovered December 12th, 2020, JCSC, candidly, and their take on this. It defines matter. Matter is essentially resistance over time. The main point I think they want us to grasp is that matter isn't just dead stuff. It's, well, alive, part of some divine energy process.
Wow, okay, that's definitely not standard physics, is it?
Yeah.
And they don't stop there, right? They also rework Einstein's EMC, they frame it as JMC board, but here Transio isn't just the speed of light squared. They call it charge, or ampere lambda.
Ampere lambda, exactly.
Right.
And the idea, as the source presents it, is that the speed of light is tied to how charge or energy moves through time. It defines the conduction of time itself.
Okay, ampere lambda.
Yeah. And this is important because for them, this explains how energy actually becomes matter. They flat out state energy is alive. And even God exists as living energy. So in their view, this changes everything, not just physics, but, creation itself.
Okay, let's unpack this. If we follow their thinking here, how does this radical redefinition of time and matter affect our everyday reality? What does it mean for us? Because they say time is not fixed, it's measurable, changeable. It depends on clock speed or frequency, like higher frequencies shorten time. And they describe the universe as 4D and matter forms where two different times intersect, like colliding streams. That sounds really...
It does paint a very dynamic picture, doesn't it? Not static at all. And this fluid reality idea leads straight into the metaphysical stuff in the sources. They actually suggest the soul is charged matter. There's another formula, CMNA equal Joule S, which, according to them, means the soul can survive death because it has this inherent frequency, this energy.
The frequency keeps it going, kind of.
That's the idea. They say the higher your frequency wave, the stronger your light is. And they connect this directly to, well, physical health.
Right, so things like spiritual awakening, raising your consciousness. In this view, they're not just abstract concepts, they're like practical ways to be healthier.
That's what they're asserting, yes. They link feelings to lived energy. So boosting your frequency, your consciousness, can actually improve your health. And they contrast this sharply with conventional medicine, pharmaceuticals, which they claim just scatter the flow of light and get in the way of real healing. It definitely raises a question, if we take these principles as presented, what practical steps could we, actually take for the planet, for a livable habitat?
That's a really good transition, actually, because the sources jump from the cosmos right into, well, pretty critical earthly problems. Starting with the economy, they talk about the Fisher formula, MV equals PT, from the 1930s. But they claim it's been totally misapplied, and that's what's causing our current economic mess.
Exactly. They argue this misunderstanding leads directly to what they call the overproduction paradox. There's examples. Like Belgium apparently having a 100 billion euro surplus every year. Or like making 10 phones when people only need 3. This creates, in their view, this impossible situation where new companies coming in just bankrupt others, so no real job growth, even with high output.
And the wealth gap numbers they mention are pretty stark. There's this 2015 newspaper clip they cite. It says 1% of people own 48% of the financial power, just 1%. And then housing. They focus on Belgium again. Costs apparently shot up 600% between 87 and 2015, but incomes only went up 40%. So they argue even 2 incomes aren't enough for a family to afford a home anymore.
So to fix this, the sources propose some pretty radical changes to the economy. They talk about a municipal nationalization system with security of income. The idea is to balance supply and demand using some kind of big database of what people and communities actually need.
Oh, database. Okay.
Yeah. And they say this system would transform debts into real values and redistribute wealth through things like capping CEO salaries, limiting how much property one person can own, even a cash ban to fight corruption.
Wow. I mean, thinking about an economic system designed to make life more easy, as they put it, where you're kind of independent of money
Yes.
so you can create freedom,
Yeah.
that's a really different vision. They suggest people could do less work, have more free time.
It's definitely a total rethink of economics.
Mhm.
And they approach climate change with similar big ideas. They see the atmosphere as this volumetric sphere, and the pressure inside increases from emissions, chemical experiments,
Right.
leading to higher temps, more lightning, bigger storms. They use this analogy,
Like-
a balloon inside a larger balloon, for how the troposphere and stratosphere interact.
They also talk about specific dangers, right? Like ammonium nitrate for hydrogen storage?
Yes, they claim it's incredibly explosive and reacts badly with the climate.
And PFOS pollution, too,
Mm.
saying it repels water in the body and the environment.
They highlight that as a major problem. And they mention a critical tipping point, 420 ppm CO2. They also bring up past climate shifts, like 140,000 years ago, when things apparently went from hot to cold in less than 200 years, just to show how fast things can change.
But what are their solutions, then, for energy and water?
Well, they're just as radical. They talk about free energy, literally downloading it from the air by colliding voltage streams. They give a formula, VA times VA equals W squared, which they claim generates tons of power with no short circuits.
Gliding voltage streams.
And for water, they propose huge desalination projects, pumping fresh water into rivers, recovering oxygen too. It really challenges how we think about energy and resources now.
Given all these crises and these, well, revolutionary solutions, it kind of makes sense that prophecy gets woven in. The sources state that prophetic words must be revealed now because the time has come. They mention specific Bible references. Revelation's 7 seals are already broken, apparently. Jerusalem's trampling by Gentiles is nearly over. And the return of Jesus is compared to Noah's days, people just carrying on unaware until disaster hits. That's from Matthew 24.
And it's not just the Bible. They also cite other prophecies, the Hopi Blue Katina and a comet prophecy, and the Maya calendar ending, well, transitioning in 2011, which they see as a call to get back in line with natural laws. So from their perspective, it's all part of one big unfolding story, not just random events.
So what's the takeaway then for the future? How are these prophecies supposed to be playing out now? I mean, the messenger themselves, HNN Regal Jesu, they make some pretty extraordinary claims in the material, saying they were sent from the air in 1988, not born normally, and having this rare Trinity blood type, CC, as like a divine sign, identifying them as the blood of Jesus C or Lamb of God.
Yes, those are direct claims from the source. And they're backed up by accounts of special abilities, like seeing light in darkness because of a high frequency, or moving without moving. The author presents this as proof of, well, a divine link and deeper understanding of how the universe works.
And they apply this unique viewpoint to current events, too, like global conflicts. They argue war just doesn't make any sense. It's a wasting blame.
Yeah.
They advocate for peace with freedom to love and an endless life story. Looking at the Ukraine conflict, they call it a squared door between Europe and NATO and Russia. And they argue that sanctions, a forced attack, just drag everyone down.
Right, and if you connect that to their overall message, it really calls for a complete rethink of international relations. A whole new approach to global security is needed, they argue. They push hard for getting rid of all nuclear weapons worldwide, like a peace deal to lift sanctions and achieve one world unite. They basically say nukes are worthless anyway, given current tech.
Okay, so moving beyond the warnings and these huge proposals, the sources also talk about the path forward. It seems to involve both big societal changes and like deep personal transformation. Are quite critical of modern society, talking about loss of rationality, how truth is obscured. They even claim education has sort of disconnected generations from historical truths.
And they really focus on human suffering, blaming the ego. The ego is seen as resistance, the thing that fuels loneliness and feeling dissatisfied. So the solution they offer is internal. It's about observing your own resistance and transforming it. Finding peace through acceptance, through letting go, shifting focus inward, not just trying to control things outside.
That really does sound like a totally different way to live, a massive shift in how we see things. What really stands out to you about this vision for transformation as the source lays it out?
I think it's the intense optimism, really, despite all the warnings. This vision of a new heaven and a new earth, quoting Revelation, where there's no more death or mourning or crying or pain. It's not just about fixing external problems. It's presented as a kind of collective rebirth, creating a world where love one another and sharing is caring are the actual rules we live by, for a blissful future. The core message seems to be that everything shall be created new, and that we need to wake up, become aware that we are creators, and reconnect with Mother Earth to survive.
Wow, yeah. We've covered a lot of ground today, from rethinking physics and time itself to diagnosing huge global crises in the economy and environment, all wrapped up in ancient prophecies and this, well, intense call for change, both inside ourselves and in the world. It's truly a vision of a completely remade world, according to these sources.
It really is, and they keep saying the time has come for these prophecies, these ideas, to be known and presumably acted on.
So here's something to think about. If, as these sources claim, the world is one and all reflection, and we become aware that we are creators, what inner beauty, as they put it, can you cultivate starting today to maybe help manifest a more harmonious reality in your own life and maybe in the world around you?